Why hospitality and not like retail or tech?
Because it's the most fun and wild. And the people that work in it are interesting, and they aren't the types of people to sit behind a desk all day. They're almost the opposite of that. So you get a lot of energy from it. It's hard work. It's a different kind of hard work to actually working in hospitality. So you have a kind of respect for them. Also, I feel like social media managers are sort of the waiters of the internet.
Have you been a waiter?
Yeah, I have. I was crap at it.
Where's the worst place you've ever done hospitality work?
Oh, I mean, I was awful. I worked in a pub for a bit and I spilt someone's Diet Coke over their Hunter's chicken. And then instead of just taking the plate back, I was trying to mop it up with a
Here, let me get that for you. Let's talk about partnerships.
We advocate working with partners in your social media strategy. There is no better way of reaching an audience that's relevant to your brand than working with other people you already work with. It solidifies the relationship in the real life and also gives you an opportunity to get your brand in front of new people. There's a lot of competitions online, and you might think, oh, I've never entered a competition. But if you were to run a competition on your socials, you'll see a spike in your followers. And at the moment, that's difficult to do, is get increased followers organically. So it's just a really, really good way of building that audience.
Is it good to go for something that's adjacent? So if I've got a brand that's mostly food focused, would it be good to team up with like a wet offering, or would I team up with another food, or does it depend on who my relationships are with?
I think it does depend on who your relationships are with, but if something is adjacent to what you offer, that gives you a lot more to talk about. If it's food and drink, you can talk about the different kind of scenarios of eating that food and drink, or if it's another liquid and you're a booze brand, you could talk about the cocktails that you can make with this particular flavor. And then you could create something like a follow loop where an individual user has to visit every single one of those partner brands and follow the account to be entered into the competition. You want to manage that quite well, but that's an amazing way of getting a lot of followers.
And what about people who are looking to expand their potential sales funnel? So a partnership that involves going to a gated page on a website and entering an email address.
Yeah, very successful. The thing that's great about driving traffic to your site and capturing an email address is that email address then belongs to you if they opt in for you to market to them, which you should put as a opt-in question at the end of your sign up. That data is super valuable to you. Anything you run through Facebook or Instagram, as much as it's great and can have a really positive impact, it's still not data that you own. And in this world where data is hugely valuable, the more you can do to collect your own data, the better. So the more competitions you can run that drive traffic to your site, the better. There's other ways of driving traffic to your site though, and that's potentially through PR. So local press, local journalists, if you've got a really amazing competition, why won't people want to write about it? If it's a lot of local suppliers all teaming up together, find the story together and get local journalists, local press to put that in the paper, drive traffic to the site.
The hospitality world has embraced online potentials. Like paid advertising it's a little bit of it seems like a big mountain to climb for people who don't understand how it works.
Up until recently, the hospitality sector, in my experience, has been fairly shy with spending money online because it's been very difficult to prove ROI, return on investment. You have your customer go onto the site and in a lot of cases leave to make the booking on a third party platform. That's still the case for a lot of websites and a lot of hospitality brands. So the ability to track that customer all the way to the end hasn't been possible, whether that means having a custom booking widget on the site, which means you can track that all the way through. For your deliveries, having your own delivery platform on your site so you don't need to send people to Deliveroo. When those sorts of processes are set up, it means that we can track all the way through and prove a return on investment for those ads. Those aren't short-term wins because, like anything, you need to have a clear strategy that's implemented, that runs over a certain amount of time, that you learn from within that setup period, and then you set your targets, your KPIs, your key performance indicators, and you start to really tighten up your ad strategy so that you're driving strong return on investment. For every £1 spend, you know exactly how much you're getting back in bookings or delivery orders. If I'm entering a brand new paid ads strategy and setup relationship, I will give us a 3-month starter period where we'll set up audiences, we'll test those audiences, and we'll test ad copy and creative. And if by the end of those 3 months we've not been able to make any of that work successfully to good return, it is a case of looking at what that offering is and why isn't it working. Because I would say within the first 3 months we should be able to feel some successes, have had some successes. There will have been some failures too, but you turn them off as soon as you realize that they're failures. And so you learn and you adapt and you work out what works. So by the end of that 3 months, you might only have one ad that's converting, but you know that ad's converting and you can weight your budget on that. You can increase that ad set, the targeting, you can turn these things up. And that's the beauty of running paid advertising for any sector, but more so now for hospitality than ever before, as everything all comes online so much more prevalently than it has done. The other types of advertising that you have online, pay-per-click, PPC, that's Google or Bing or Ecosia. I mean, to be honest, I'm really interested in looking at Ecosia ads for a lot of brands. Plants a tree for every search term that's gone through its system. And I believe they don't hold on to your data in the same way as Google does. So I think that there is scope to be done for putting your ad budget on a search engine like that, where your costs might be more favorable. Any learnings you make from social, you can absolutely replicate those in terms of your ad copy and what kind of messaging is working. All of this, I think anyone can learn with some time, but not anyone, I mean, especially in the hospitality sector, no one has any time. So
if people can't currently invest in someone managing their socials and their online presence for them, the best place to start is paid ads through socials, is what we're saying.
I would say it's the simplest way. And I would say to set up a video view ad of a 15-second to 30-second video, run that for a few weeks, decide on your ad budget. And then once you've got a few thousand views on that, see if you can get it up to 10,000 views on that video. Set up a second ad, which is a traffic driving ad, to everybody that watched 75% or more of that video. Aim to have your video coming in at 0.02p per view. It's just good to have a number, a target. If we were to put forecasts together for a brand, we do a lot of research. We'll deep dive into their Google Analytics. We'll look at any previous campaigns that they've run. We'll look at previous ad campaigns we've run for similar brands, and we'll make a much more intelligent target, but see how it goes.
People who have got their own delivery mechanism set up, why that's advantageous in terms of their paid ads strategy.
We have the Deliveries, the Uber Eats, Just Eats of the world. You can't do without them. They're incredible. But on the other hand, the value in all of the work that you do in marketing your brand, building your audience, brand awareness, driving traffic to your site, if those third-party services are your final point of sale from an online journey perspective, the most valuable action is being taken away from your site. You as the brand are doing all of that work. Obviously, Deliveroo are doing a huge amount of work in their marketing too, but you've got to build those relationships. The thing I'm really interested in exploring is what the value is to building your own brand, building your own website traffic, building your site to be able to manage delivery so that when that point of sale happens, it happens on your site. So you can retarget that customer. You have the ownership of that data in a way. I mean, with the email address coming back to you from the order, of course you own that. If they come to your site, go through your order process and don't purchase, you can still retarget that customer. You don't have the email address, but you can get them back. There's far more opportunities for you as an individual restaurant to bring that person back to your site. And then you also save the 30% fee for delivery. All the delivery services are absolutely, like, in lots of cases, saving these businesses because they are set up to deliver and they are set up to do these things. But I'm interested in how local areas can work together, especially small independents who have the huge global brand restaurants where delivery services are able to deliver a huge number of orders. The cut doesn't affect those big brands so much. And then you have the smaller businesses where the orders coming in from Deliveroo are huge, so it's more than they could have got on their own. You have this middle zone where I think there's the opportunity for collaboration, partnerships, and kind of a decentralizing of delivery services where you can claim back the ownership of that data and future-proofing your business. If it was a business I owned, a restaurant I owned, I wouldn't want to be sending that valuable customer to close somewhere else. No way. I'd want them to close on my site, and I'd want to be working towards that happening. So I'm really interested in that.
We're seeing some brands really hop on the technology train with things like really bringing their menus to life. So like augmented reality, 3D foods. Like, do you see a greater uptake of that?
Yeah. Oh my God. Isn't it exciting? Because I'm such a digital person. I've been in digital for like 12 years. QR codes have existed for a long, long time, but no one cares. No one's cared about them before. QR codes have been on statues in London for ages. You could scan them, and then you could find out all the history of these different statues and different things in London, but you never see anybody scanning them. And now people understand how to use QR codes. As well as that, the at-home experience isn't going to go anywhere anytime soon. Restaurants certainly are thinking about how they accommodate the at-home experience into their business plans. You put so much effort into the atmosphere and the feeling and the vibe you get from your restaurant. How can we start to create that at home? We've been thinking about how you can bring augmented reality out of your phone and the branding of the characters of the restaurant come out of your phone and into your room. And yes, it's kind of gimmicky, but these things are memorable. And if we can stay on top of these things, and if we can have enough good ideas and work with creative people, it's this lovely opportunity to really do something fun and memorable. And even if your brand isn't fun, because I think at the moment, especially in social media, and Sarah may agree with this, there might be a brief that comes through and it's like brand tone of voice. Oh, really funny. Great jokes, very humorous. Humor seems to be the thing that people want to be a lot of. But I think there's something to be said from sophisticated elegance. And, there's so much more to restaurants than we are seeing coming out of the space and online. And there's only so much you can do with a picture and a piece of copy. There's so much you can do if we're bringing it to life in the room from the phone with sounds and music and atmosphere, and you could bring in sensory things of smells and all sorts of things that you can do to create your restaurant atmosphere at home.